Morning, everybody. Welcome to today, where we celebrate the Thursday after Ash Wednesday. And so, if we look upon the first reading from today, from Deuteronomy chapters 30, verse 15 to 20, Jesus reminds each and every one of us about two possibilities to which we can face as our outcome when God comes to each and every one of us. And that is life within Him and the other place. And so today, Jesus reminds each and every one of us here about how each and every one of us here can love God. And so Jesus, for today, reminds each and every one of us that if we are to obey the commandments by loving Him and walking in His ways, then we are going to grow blessed. And so, what commandments did Jesus give to each and every one of us here? We know that each and every one of us are called to continue to love one another just like how God loves each and every one of us. And we can experience God's love through the Ten Commandments, to which God inspired the Moses to write. So that by keeping these Ten Commandments, each and every one of us here can really have a full, in-depth understanding of what it truly means to love one another. And so that is the first lesson to which I bring to you guys for today. The second lesson that all of us can learn from the first reading is, what if we don't continue to follow His ways? What if we try to go our own ways, to which all of us here are doing it for our own personal pleasure? If we are to continue to do that, not only will we be led astray, but we will feel this separation. The separation to which it really is going to make it harder for each and every one of us here to be able to entrust ourselves in this closeness in the relationship with Christ. And so each and every one of us here are called to choose between two factors: whether we want to continue to keep His commandments by loving the Lord your God against other things, or do we continue to follow our own life, knowing that sometimes we may be lost and scattered to the extent that it may be a lot harder for each and every one of us here to continue to return back to Him, because Jesus reminds all of us that we may continue to perish. And so all of us here have this decision that we should continue to make, especially throughout our journey of faith, and whether or not we want to continue to love God. And I hope that each and every one of us here continues to love the Lord as we continue to journey with Jesus throughout the deserts 40 days and 40 nights, which the first day had started yesterday. And so, if we look at today's Holy Gospel, notice how Jesus had given a very, very powerful message to which He delivered to each and every one of us here. And according to Luke chapters 9, verse 22 to 25, notice that the first portion of today's Holy Gospel, it explicitly states, Jesus said to His disciples, "The Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, chief priests, the scribes, and be killed and on the third day be raised." And so why is it that Jesus had to go through these struggles to which we as humans will have to eventually face? Throughout our lives, we have good people who surround each and every one of us, which include our families, our friends, and those who teach each and every one of us to become a good human being. But there are also some times where we may have enemies to which we also experience in our day-to-day lives. And these enemies are the ones who want us to accomplish their own goal, which sometimes we don't even like to do. And so Jesus continues to remind and invite each and every one of us here to love our enemies. Even though people are there to betray Jesus, Jesus exactly teaches each and every one of us here to love other people, including the enemies. Just like how Jesus continues to love the Pharisees and the scribes, although he doesn't support how they continue to set apart far distance from God, yet he continues to love them. And so when we go out and meet other people, each and every one of us here are called to continue to express the love with other people, despite what they are going to be doing to each and every one of us. Because there are many people there who really have thoughts against each and every one of us here. We try to tend to do our best. And so let us continue to offer ourselves up to the Lord so that the Lord can help guide each and every one of us here, especially along the journey to which all of us here are going through. And then Jesus, in the second portion of today's Holy Gospel, had made a very clear indication for how each and every one of us here are to continue to follow God. And so Jesus continues to remind each and every one of us that if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up the cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. And so here, Jesus is reminding each and every one of us about the sacrifices to which each and every one of us here should make in order for each and every one of us here to experience this closeness in the relationship with Christ. And throughout days to which we are living our journey of faith, we are already carrying our own crosses. Some of us may carry heavy crosses of burden throughout our day-to-day lives, as each and every one of us here are struggling through various situations to which we encounter to the extent that we really don't know ourselves and we really couldn't be able to find a solution to the situation and heavy burden that each and every one of us here are going through. And so Jesus reminds each and every one of us to pick up a cross as a means as continuing to love other people so that we can strive to prepare and inherit God's kingdom as He is coming to each and every one of us here. And so, with that being said, towards the end of today's Holy Gospel, notice how Jesus had directly stated that what profit is there for one to gain the world, yet lose or forfeit himself? So, he continues to remind each and every one of us here about our life in the future to when Jesus is going to be calling each and every one of us. and how each and every one of us here should not take the worldly goods for granted, but rather we should continue to really express God's love as we continue to share His Word. We share it in a way that brings other people closer to God, rather than sharing it in a way where it really shames other people for how they are living their life. And so I challenge each and every one of us here today to go and love other people, because Christ continues to love each and every one of us. And let us continue to keep His commandments as we continue to draw ourselves closer and closer to Christ.